and then beat his mother-in-law with a tire iron from his car, followed by stabbing her with a kitchen knife. Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you are doing well. My name is Gabby, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the rather unusual case of Kenneth Parks. At around 4:45 p.m. on the 24th of May 1987, a bruised and blood-covered man walked into a Scarborough, Ontario police station and confessed to 2 murders. And what he told the police was, "I just killed someone with my bare hands. Oh my God, I just killed someone. I've just killed 2 people. My God, I've just killed 2 people with my hands. My God, I just killed 2 people. My hands, I just killed 2 people. I killed them. I killed 2 people. I've just killed my mother and father-in-law. I stabbed and beat them to death. It's all my fault." So this man's name was Kenneth Parks, and not long prior to handing himself in at the police station, he had left his home in the middle of the night, got into his car, driven over 14 miles to the home of his in-laws, entered it and began to strangle his father-in-law unconscious, and then beat his mother-in-law with a tire iron from his car, followed by stabbing her with a kitchen knife. The brutal crime took a turn for the unexpected, however, when Parks later claimed that he had no memory of the crime or anything else that he had done that night. He didn't remember driving to the home of his in-laws, he didn't remember attacking them, and he didn't remember going to the police station and confessing. From his perspective, he'd fallen asleep in front of the TV earlier that night, then woken up to find himself in the police station with no idea of how he got there or why he was in the state that he was in. He identified the bodies of his in-laws but seemed confused about what had happened. Kenneth Parks had, he claimed, killed his in-laws in his sleep. As defences go, it seemed unbelievable. Even sleep specialists were very sceptical, but upon investigation, the supporting evidence mounted up. Firstly, Parks had no motive to kill his in-laws and had always got along extremely well with them, with his mother-in-law calling him her gentle giant. Secondly, Parks had a history of sleepwalking, usually when under stress in his waking life, and at the time of the incident he was under a great deal of stress. A gambling addiction had led him to embezzle over $30,000 from his employer, and the discovery of the missing money had cost him his job and resulted in him facing a lawsuit. Additionally, Parks underwent a EEG following his arrest and claimed to have been asleep, and the resulting readings, which are impossible to fake or otherwise manipulate, were very abnormal, even by the standards of someone with a sleep disorder. But how could someone do what Parks did without having any awareness of what was going on or even waking up? The answer lies with Parks' specific sleeping disorder. While the term sleepwalking can be applied to a number of conditions, the evidence pointed to Parks having one in particular: somnambulism. Unlike other disorders, affected individuals can move around freely during an episode and are capable of becoming violent. The episodes also occur when the individual in question is in an extremely deep sleep, with no awareness of their surroundings, and is extremely difficult to wake up. Research had revealed that during somnambulism episodes, the affected individual's brain shows no activity in the cerebral cortex and the cerebrum, which are the areas responsible for coordinating and integrating information from a person's surroundings. This means that the person in question can't use their senses in any meaningful way. They can't understand their environment, they cannot form new memories, and most importantly, they cannot make decisions about their actions. In short, a somnambulism episode, they have no consciousness. Any action that they do perform would be classed in legal terms as automaticisms, which are defined as an involuntary piece of behaviour over which an individual has no control. Because the person in question has no control over or even awareness of their actions, they cannot be held legally responsible for them. As for how Parks managed to drive to his in-laws' house in his sleep, the explanation is simply that he had done this action so many times in his waking life that he could do it without even thinking about it, which a lot of us can do during the day while being awake, which I'm very guilty of. And on the night in question, he, or rather his sleeping body, had done just that. Essentially, his body had been on autopilot. It'd been late at night when there was no traffic or pedestrians, so there was not really anything to cause any problems for his journey. During Parks' trial, his defence focused on his lack of motive, his excellent relationship with his in-laws, the consistency of his story during interviews despite the police trying to trip him up, and the evidence supporting his claim of having been asleep at the time of the incident. Convinced, the jury found him not guilty on all charges, and as a sleep disorder isn't a mental illness, and Parks was perfectly sane, he didn't have to be sent to any sort of mental hospital. The prosecution appealed the acquittal all the way up to the Canadian Supreme Court, but it was upheld. Parks was put on medication for his disorder and hasn't had a recurrence of somnambulism since then. As for the embezzlement lawsuit that had likely triggered the episode that resulted in the deaths of his in-laws, he admitted to what he had done and paid the full restitution. So that was the case of Kenneth Parks. As someone who has sleptwalked in their lives, it is utterly terrifying that it can possibly get to that level. Luckily, it's very, very rare and obviously a very specific condition. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you feel like subscribing to the channel, please do, it will be very much appreciated. If you want to check out any other cases I've covered, there's a link here. But until I see you again, please be safe, be well, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.